just come from a briefing from the Israel Defense Forces. We know there's a protest just starting at the Ministry of Defense as well. They have to keep people calm here. They're in a state of stasis, if you like, waiting for something to happen. But you've been looking back on the events of October the 7th with them.
Yeah, so obviously they feel as though this horrendous attack that happened on the 7th of October has kind of changed the rules of the game. When you speak to spokespeople, they talk about how this isn't another round of Hamas-Israel conflict and clashes. This is something different. And what they've got is hundreds of hours of video footage that's being collected, some of it from the bodies of the Hamas militants who came in here, some of it from the mobile phones of the victims, frankly, also from CCTV footage in the kibbutz, these little farming communities that were brutally vandalized, savaged, and in often parts destroyed, and dashcam footage from cars. So it's a massive forensic exercise, and we were shown just a short breakdown it's about 45 minutes long that took us through some of the events and gave this sense of exactly what happened. You saw from the beginning these Hamas fighters coming across the border. We saw them in pickup trucks. They're sort of shouting. They've got AK-47s. They've got body armour on. They're shouting Allah Akbar. They're moving forwards along the roads towards their targets. And then you see different elements of the attack. So you see some of these fighters breaking into the kibbutz, wandering around with their guns, shooting, shouting at each other, shooting into houses, setting to fire into houses. We also saw photographs of some of the victims and brutal attacks that I won't describe against some of the individuals. And then as well as that, we saw that other horrific attack against the party, the rave that was taking place close to the border. Young people initially enjoying the music, and then suddenly their lives turned to hell as these fighters with their guns shot at them in their cars. And you can see this happening in real time on their body cam footage. And I think as well that's significant that they came into Israel deliberately filming the attacks that they were doing. And the Israel Defense Forces have said that they believe that this is part of the strategy to show terror, to terrorize people here and to terrorize the world.
And with the Americans in town, we know there have been Congress personnel who've come. We know that the US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is here. We know that the President has sent a hostage envoy as well. They need to keep that attack center mind, don't they, to keep the support of the Americans, because the situation we know for the Gazans now is in many cases absolutely desperate. So what will Blinken be coming to talk about here after his tour of Middle East and Arab nations? And, what can the Israelis hope to see from him?
Well, it's significant that he's back again. It just shows just how deeply worried the United States is about the tinderbox here. They know it could explode into a much wider war. The fact they've sent a second carrier strike group into the region as well, again, is all about signalling to other actors in the region. But also central for the Americans is the fact that there are American hostages too on the ground in Gaza being held. And so that hostage situation is clearly complicating the military planning, because they will be wanting to extract those hostages maybe even before they can really go in. It's not clear. Nobody's talking about that because obviously it's very sensitive. But they are also very aware of the potential for escalation. The Israelis say they don't have a choice. After what happened on the 7th of October, they have to go in because Hamas is on their border. They have to, in their words, they have to destroy them. Yet there is a risk that then Iran gets involved. It's already signalled perhaps that it would have to through groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, and we've seen an escalation of fighting there. And I asked a spokesperson for the IDF just now about that risk of escalation, and this is what he said.
We know Hezbollah is constantly escalating. It has been over the last week, and we've seen more and more attacks from Hezbollah against our forces, anti-tank guided missiles against the troops and civilians on the border, but also mortar fire, sniper fire, exchanges of fire. So we've reinforced our forces on the border. We've conducted counterstrikes, and we believe that behind Hezbollah's actions is actually Iran, who are trying to continue their destabilization and challenge Israel and the IDF.
He also had a warning, though, for Hezbollah. He said that they need to look at what Israel is doing against Hamas in Gaza, and he also said that there was that threat that they are prepared to do the same in Lebanon if necessary to try to keep this country safe. And they also said they have the ability to fight on those two fronts, but clearly there are questions about that.